Hey friends, it's Enjoli from Doodle Quilting Studio, and I wanted to take a few minutes this morning. It's Friday, it's beautiful, it's sunny outside. I'm in the studio with all the windows. I got my coffee, so things are going good. But I wanted to take a few minutes. I've been wanting to make a video like this. Actually, I have a whole list, but this one in particular, on rights and responsibilities as owners of Bernina Q Series machines. So whether you have a Q24 on a frame, a Q20 on a frame, a Q20 or Q16 in a cabinet, Q16 on studio frame, right? There's so many options, but our rights and responsibilities as Q Series owners. Because I participate in all the groups on Facebook, well, most of the groups on Facebook for not just Longarm quilting, but also for the Bernina Q Series machines. And I just I see common questions, common things, common issues that come up. And I kind of just wanted to be able to address some of them, but really just talk about, like, as the consumer, what you can ask for from your dealer, right? What you can ask for. Now, I'm coming from this, so I own Doodle Quilting Studio, which is a longarm quilting. We offer longarm quilting services. I do custom quilting. We do edge-to-edge quilting, classes, etc., all that good stuff. But my sister, we're twins. She owns Seems Like Home now, and she's right next door. So I also do all of her Q Series owner support. So I do the support for the group of people, you know, in our area, in our community. Alaska's a little different. If you live somewhere else, it's probably going to be a little different than how we are here. There are only 3 Bernina dealers in the entire state of Alaska. And the closest one is an 8-hour drive from where we are. And the other one isn't on the road system. So the only way to get there is to fly or by boat. But, so anyway, so it's a little bit different here, but, so I do the consumer support for, the longarms. I have done the installs, setting up the frames, setting up Qmatic, setting up tables, etc. So I kind of come from it like on all sides. So I'm also a consumer. This is my original machine I bought back in 2016, that I have clocked over 30 million stitches on now. I haven't checked recently. I have another machine that's a couple years old, and then we have another machine over here that's like one of the first machines. It was one of the first machines that Seems Like Home got when they came out with the Q Series. So, so I also, you know, own and love a Q Series machine. So kind of coming from it from all viewpoints as the consumer, but also as the dealer, you know, dealer support, talking to other consumers. So anyway, so rights and responsibilities of Q Series owners, because I think it's kind of important stuff to know. Now, granted, every Bernina dealer is probably going to do things a little bit differently. But these are things that, that I do, on, you know, from the dealer side. So your rights as a Q Series owner, these are things that I feel like my consumers, deserve. Okay. So your rights as a Q Series owner, and I say rights, you know, these are things that I feel like as an owner of this machine that are acceptable for you to ask for from your dealer. So the first one is education, access to information. So when you buy this machine, and I know even you know, as being a consumer of the machine, it's an expensive machine. It's worth every single penny you spend on it because it is a fabulous machine, but it is expensive. It does require learning. There is a little bit more of a learning curve with it if you're new to long arming, if you're new to machine quilting. So in my experience, some of our consumers that have purchased these machines, they're excited about free motion quilting. They're excited about doing quilting on their own quilts, but they haven't done very much. And so not only are they now approaching a new type of machine with this purchase, but they're also new to free motion. And there's a lot of things to understand when it comes to machine quilting and the components that go into it, our fabric, our batting, our thread, our needles, all these components that come into it. So your first right as a Q Series owner is the information, the education. And that is one thing that Bernina and Bernina dealers are really great at, is having the information, having the learning tools, taking advantage of that. Definitely, if that's not something that is offered up front to you, that's something that I feel like you can ask for. You know, with our domestic Bernina machines, we get a whole series of classes, right? Our Learning by Bernina or mastery classes. We've been Bernina dealers, well, the store has been Bernina dealers for a long time, and so they've kind of changed the names, but definitely access to information, education is one thing that I believe is your right as a Q Series owner. So if you don't get offered it, ask for it. I'll do another video on if there's an issue accessing information where you can get other information. So that'll be a different video, but that's the first one. The second one is one of the most important things, I think, is support, ongoing support. So, and again, this is where every dealer is going to do it differently, but this is how I have done it here. And I offer ongoing support to our Q Series consumer group. So through classes where they come in as a group and we do things, through support where now again, this is going to be different for every dealer because of depending on where people are. But I have done house calls. I have done phone calls. My philosophy with this machine, and again, knowing as the consumer operating this machine, running this machine, especially when I first started, I was also running a business, and I am currently running a business with my Q Series machines. But I have found that my owners have more success if they can get an answer to a question. I won't say it immediately because I also have a family. I also have 3 kids. And so I can't always, be instantaneous with my answers. But having access to somebody that can give you that ongoing support, that can answer your questions. Okay, this happened with my machine. What do I do? Where do I go next? This is a problem that I'm having, be it, I see in the groups all the time, I'm getting skip stitches, I'm getting thread breaking, etc. And having somebody that can kind of help troubleshoot that. Now, if you're on Facebook, the Facebook groups are absolutely an amazing resource. Use them, ask questions in there. I've had a couple of my consumers email me, text me, call me with a question. I haven't been able to get back to them right away. And I've seen their question in the group, and that is fantastic because you have this whole group of people collectively that are also running this machine that have probably experienced the problem that you're going through. And so they have probably found a solution, or there's a couple people that can offer suggestions. So use those groups. And I will include the names. I don't think I can link to them, but I can include the names of the groups that I'm in on Facebook, the Bernina Longarm groups, some other various Longarm groups. There's some Q Series specific groups. So definitely participate in those, and that can be part of your, ongoing support as well. But I feel like as a consumer, that's something you can also ask from your dealer. Hey, I have a question. I have I need some troubleshooting help. That's a phone call you can make, I believe, to your dealer and get information. So that was a very long explanation for the second one. And then the third is help and refreshers. So I have some consumers right now that I'm doing, they bought their machine and their Qmatic, I don't even know, probably 4 years ago. And, they have, she has a job, etc. So she hasn't used it as much. So, now granted, let me disclaimer this, I guess. I'm not saying that your right as the consumer is to access all of this necessarily for free from your dealer. There is a window. Bernina has stipulations on what needs to be offered. So that I believe should be followed. But I do offer private classes. So they signed up for a private class with me to do a refresher on Qmatic. We went over a refresher on loading, basic operations of Qmatic. But I think that that's something that you can definitely seek out, and your dealer is going to be the best place to start, whether that's something that they can offer you for free or something that there's a fee for. But that's something that, again, I believe that you can ask for help and refreshers on, hey, I haven't done this in a while. I haven't used this in a while. typically when I have consumers that are new to the machine or new to the system, and they, Bernina has all these great promotions, and so we get all these cool toys, right? So we get ruler work stuff, we get couching tools, we get all these cool things that we can put on our machines and play with. But when we first start out, we're not necessarily, so like as a new long armor, I'm not necessarily going to jump into free motion couching right away. So that's something with our consumers here. I tell them, hey, when you get ready to do this, let me know and we'll go over it, because there is so much information when you get one of these machines right off the bat that just learning how to thread it and set your tensions and try different threads is enough to overwhelm your brain in the beginning, that I don't need to try and teach you couching and ruler work on day one. That's something that can be revisited. So again, that's just kind of my philosophy for how I handle our consumers here. But so again, rights as a Q Series owner, ongoing support, access to information and education, help and refreshers. The last one is service call. So I know that, and this is probably like super controversial, I don't know. But service calls, asking for a service call. Now, granted, the machine doesn't require a service until 30 million stitches, which for most people is going to take a long time. I think I hit 30 million stitches about 4 or 5 years into owning this machine. Granted, I was doing custom quilting, running my machine every single day. So it's just gonna depend on the person. But, and of course your dealer's gonna have kind of a system for how they do service calls, whether you bring the sew head to them or they come to you. And we here have done both. But I think that is within your right to ask for a service call if you are at the point where troubleshooting hasn't worked, something hasn't worked. And again, that's a conversation with your dealer, but that is, within your right. And again, I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to be a free service call, but that's something that you can say, hey, I've been struggling with this. I've tried to troubleshoot it. We've talked, had a conversation, and this is where I'm at. I think is the next step a service call, you come out or I bring it in. And that's, that's again, I think something that is within the, realm of something that's reasonable for you to ask from your dealer. So those are the rights of what I think as a Q Series owner, your rights. Now, rights do not come without responsibilities. So now we're going to talk about your responsibilities as a Q Series owner, because those are just as important as what I feel like as a dealer, what, we offer you. So your rights as a Q Series owner. So the first one is do your regular maintenance. Now, these machines don't require a lot, but regular oil, regular cleaning, we're oiling our hook system. I will have a video of that process. Now I oil my machine. So as soon as I come in, so like I came in this morning, I turned this machine on because I'm gonna use it. I clean it out, put a couple drops of oil in. Every so often though, I will actually run, basically I put, 6 drops of oil, somewhere around there. I put it in manual mode, slow it down, turn off my thread sensor, run it. And I have a video, or I'll put up a video on that process, how I do that. But basically what that does, I let the machine run for a minute, and all that oil kind of, circulates through the hook and kicks out all the stuff that gets gunked in there. Now, a huge part of why I'm saying this now is because yesterday, one of our other machines, the hook seized up because there was gunk and stuff stuck in there. So we had to, now this would be something that probably your dealer is going to do for you. And we had one of our techs come over. I am certified as a technician on these machines, but we have a new tech. So he came over and we were showing him, but we had to remove the hook, take it apart and actually clean it and get all that gunk out because it was in there, because we hadn't done a good enough job making sure that we kept it clean in there and that got lodged in there. So doing your regular maintenance, the hook, there's no oiling really up here, but you can dust this out, clean it out, use a vacuum, right? Those little vacuum attachments to clean it out here, keep it clean. That's a huge one. That right there is going to improve the life of your machine, and it's going to get you to that 30 million stitch mark without needing to use a service call or needing to be frustrated by something that's going wrong. So regular maintenance. Okay, number 2, be upfront and honest about things that have gone wrong with your machine. So whether that is you call the dealer and you're like, hey, this went wrong, I don't know what happened, something broke, be upfront and honest. So I will tell you, I've had this machine, like I said, since 2015, and it's needed a few things. I ran into a ruler with my needle. I had to replace the needle bar. There's all these things that I've done self-inflicted on this machine that have required replacing parts. All of them were my fault. All of them were things that I did that I was being careless, or I like to quilt really fast, which is not always safe when you're using rulers, right? So you just have to pay attention. But when you are calling and saying, hey, this is something that went wrong, or this is something I need help with, giving all the information, being upfront, like, hey, this is what I was doing, this is what happened, this is what I did, it's really gonna help the dealer help you better. It's gonna help things move along. There's not gonna be as much of a process of trying to troubleshoot if you give them all the information, be upfront, and say, this is what I did, this is what happened, okay? All right, so, okay. These are kind of like 3 and 4 are kind of like interchangeably on where I think is most, but number 3, use your machine. So, if you have a machine, now in Alaska, we have folks that snowbird. So what that means is they go usually to Arizona or somewhere warm for the winter. So they're gone for, 6 months at a time, and then they come back to Alaska for the summer. And so we have these machines that are not being used for 6 months at a time, okay? So that can also have an impact on how your machine functions, right? So if you leave anything really, right? If you leave it sitting for 6 months and don't use it, and especially here in Alaska, it's super dry, things maybe aren't gonna operate exactly right when you first turn it on. So again, making sure it's oiled, making sure that it's clean, but using your machine. Not only is that going to help keep it functioning properly, but that's gonna help you to stay on top of learning and understanding, operation, maintenance, cleaning, regular use. And it's gonna help you when you get to the point where you need to troubleshoot something, right? The more you've used the machine, the more comfortable you are, the more you can decipher what it's telling you, right? So I laugh and say, these machines, we have 3 Q24s on frames in here, a Q20 in a table, and they all have a different personality. So I'm telling you, these machines, right? I could set tension settings on this one for a certain thread, and my girl over here, she's gonna want different settings for the same thread. So they have personalities, but you have to use your machine in order to learn her personality, right? Like, I have to talk to my friends if I want to know who they are. So using your machine, getting the experience with it is really going to be helpful. That's a responsibility you have as owning this machine, right? Don't just leave her in the corner, she'll be sad. And then the last one, which I think is the most important responsibility as a Q Series owner, is learning, and this goes along with using your machine and learning her personality, but learning to troubleshoot not only your machine, but your machine quilting. Again, that comes back to, batting, needles, threads, all the components that go into your quilting, into your quilt, even the fabric that you use for your quilt. But matching thread with the right needle size, with the right tension setting. And there are so many great resources out there for giving you a starting point on how to go through that process. So I'll link some of those so that you can access those. Superior Threads has some great resources. A chart that I give to all of my new Q Series owners is one that they put out. And it's the probably most valuable resource you'll ever have for using different threads, a whole range of threads on your Q Series machine. Because I run everything through this machine. I mean, you can see I have this wall of thread back here. This is one of them. I got another one over here, but this has, it has 30 weight up to 100 weight, variegated, solid, cotton, poly. I have some monopoly, I have some metallic. So these machines really can do whatever you want them to do, but that requires that you learn how to make it do that. And you learn how to troubleshoot some of those issues. So one question I see in the groups all the time is, my machine is doing this, or I'm getting skip stitches, or my thread is shredding, or something is happening like that. And that's all they put. And then there's a whole stream of comments where a bunch of people are saying, well, what thread are you using? What needle are you using? What foot are you using? So there's all these steps you can kind of go through when you're troubleshooting. And Bernina has this great, TNT, thread needle tension. And that's what I tell all my owners, and even the folks that I'm teaching free motion quilting to, TNT, right? Let's start with our thread. Make sure our machine is threaded properly. That's a huge one. I mean, I'd say, 90% of my issues like that, I just need to make sure that my machine is threaded properly. I didn't miss a disc, or, it didn't come out somewhere. And then your needle. I actually have another video where I talk about troubleshooting with needles, because I feel like in my experience with the type of quilting I'm doing, I've been able to solve at least 95% of my stitch quality issues by using a different needle, be that size or type. And so you can do so much just with needles. And the beauty of this machine is that we can use domestic machine needles. So we have the flexibility to put a stretch needle in, put a denim needle in, put a jersey needle, put a microtex, whatever we need to do to solve a particular problem. We have access to a whole range of needles to do that with. So learning to troubleshoot, I feel like, is your greatest responsibility as a Q Series owner. Not only is it gonna make you a better quilter, it's gonna make you a happier quilter. It's gonna give you the freedom to do so many more things with your Q Series machine, because you won't be waiting to get a phone call back, or you won't be waiting for somebody in the group to answer your question, right? So as you learn different things like that with your Q Series, you have more freedom to just do so much more, because you have that information and you've learned, kind of how to move through those things. So, and I think the last one, the bonus, I didn't write it down, but it just popped into my head, is play with your machine, right? So like for some of us, like I'm running a business, so sometimes I get hung up just on getting work done. Well, if I'm not having fun and playing with my machine, now I do really enjoy my work. So I do have fun, but playing with the machine, right? Blocking out some time to give yourself the freedom to, like, okay, I really want to see what I can do with a metallic thread. Okay, well, load something on your machine, get some metallic thread, put it in your machine, right? That also helps you with the troubleshooting process, right? So I need to figure out what setting I need to have this machine at to quilt successfully with metallic thread. So I'm gonna have to play to learn how to do that. So you gotta give yourself the freedom to just put something on there just purely for fun, just purely to play and see what happens, and see, what the machine likes, what the machine needs to be set at to be successful with that. So hopefully, rights and responsibilities as Q Series owners, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully, you feel comfortable. Obviously with a machine like this, having a good relationship with your dealer is very important. So reach out to them. That is one thing too, like as coming from the dealer side, that I see in the groups, is make sure you reach out to them, give them the opportunity to help you, because I feel like they deserve that. They want you to be successful with this machine. They want you to enjoy it. And I think every Bernina dealer I've met loves the machines just as much as the consumer. So they really want you to be happy, and they really, I think, want to be there to help you be successful. So definitely give them the chance to do that. Okay, otherwise, I think rights and responsibilities of Q Series owners, at the end of the day, have fun, enjoy your machine. You are always welcome to reach out to me. You can email me. It's hello@doodlequiltingstudio.com if you have questions, or are working through something and whatever, you just need some help with something. I'm always happy to help. I absolutely love this machine. I would not have 3 of them if I didn't. And it's just the versatility of it, I think, is so amazing. And I'm contemplating getting a 4th one. We'll see. So I don't know where I'm going to fit it in here. I might have to rearrange a little, but that might be on the horizon. So anyway, you guys have fun quilting, play, try things, and remember that, you know, you have to love them, you have to clean them, take care of them, and they're gonna run forever for you. So again, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, you guys get back to quilting. I got work to do, so I'm gonna get back to quilting too, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.